During the 1920s, banks were giving out loans at a very high rate, but this would ultimately prove to be a fatal mistake that would lead to the Great Depression. The interregnum was the lowest economic point in all of the Great Depression. The differing economic policies between the current president at the time, Hoover, and the incoming president Franklin D. Roosevelt ultimately created the conflict that would further worsen the economic situation. President Hoover believed in limiting all foreign debts in order to entice other nations to export American products, while Roosevelt thought that foreign trade was unnecessary and wanted to focus on creating a national economy instead. Along with that, Hoover wanted to uphold the gold standard, but Roosevelt refused. Roosevelt wanted to salvage the country through his ideas of the New Deal, which incorporated the 3 R's: recovery, relief, and reform. Roosevelt, when implementing his economic policies, had a council to aid in his decisions deemed by many as the Brain Trust. This group consisted of Raymond Moley, Rexford Guy Tugwell, Adolph A. Burley Jr., Samuel I. Rosenman, Basil Dock O'Connor, and Hugh Johnson. This mastermind group were in all agreement with Roosevelt's economic and political ideals. They were all congruent on 3 main concepts. One of their ideas was that the Great Depression was caused domestically, therefore it could be cured domestically and through national economic efforts. Second, they favored big business and corporate. The last ideal was that economic problems could not be fixed through farmers or small enterprises. Corporations was a salvation to our economy at the time. Roosevelt's firm grip on America and his abnormal power he executed has labeled him as a dictator by some. The term dictator literally means a leader who seized complete power militarily and acts without a balance of power. And one can see how to the American people, FDR seemed like a dictator who used executive power excessively. FDR arguably used much of his power for good to fix the recession. However, when the country was weak and in need, he took advantage of his power to further his party's ideals. Instances such as dissolving the gold standard, security regulations, and public works are examples of changes FDR made with his executive decision. Roosevelt has certainly been idolized by some, and stands unique from any other president in our history. Aside from being a popular favorite and winning elections by landslide victories, FDR remains the only president to hold office for more than 2 terms. Roosevelt was clearly a master of charm, backed by a majority in both houses. Roosevelt controlled people and politics. One can observe Roosevelt's popularity at work through his 4 terms in office, and notably the ability to dissolve almost all anti-war spirit after 1939.